My name of my paper is Women's Liberation and Buddhism and Introspection. Here, the religious freedom to women was given by the Buddha, who was the first religious teacher, permitted them to play important role in the Sangha. The woman's position in the society was very low during the time of the Buddha, and he faced criticism by the prevailing establishments when he gave this freedom to women. This was extremely radical step for the times to allow women to enter the holy order. Yet the Buddha allowed women to prove their capacity like men to attain the highest position in this religious way of life. It happened for the first time in world history, for which every woman in the world must be grateful to the Buddha for showing them the real religious way of living and for giving such freedom to them. In this regard, Maharaj, these words are a good illustration of the prevailing attitude towards women during the Buddha's time. No woman with the two-finger wisdom which is hers could ever hope to reach those heights which are attained only by the sages. The following is the reply of the nun Bhikkhuni to whom Mara addressed these words. When one's mind is well concentrated and wisdom never fails, does the fact of having a woman make any difference? Buddha undoubtedly contradicted such attitude when the king of Koshala was very much disappointed after getting the information that his queen had given birth to a baby girl, which he was expecting a boy. While he was expecting a boy. The Buddha consoled the sad king by these words. A female child, O Lord of men, may prove even a better offspring than a male, for she may grow up wise and virtuous, her husband's mother reverencing true wife. The boy that she may bear may do great deeds and rule great realms. Yes, such a son of noble wife become his country's guide. Samyukta Nikaya. Women were never treated as being inferior to men in Buddhism, though the biological and physical differences between the two sexes are accepted by Buddhism, but it considers men and women equally useful to the society. The fruitful role played by the woman as a wife and as a good mother in making the family life a success was emphasized by the Buddha. It is a known fact that in the family, both husbands and wives share equal responsibilities and discharge their duties with equal dedication. It was good for both of them that the husband consider wife as a friend, a companion and a partner. On the other hand, the wife was expected to be a substitute for the husband when the husband happens to be indisposed in family affairs. Even the wife was expected to acquaint herself in such a position to manage the affairs in the absence of her husband related to the trade, business or industries in which the husband engaged. There are many examples to show that the wife occupied an equal position with the husband in the Buddhist society. Even the educational opportunities of women or their religious freedom was not restricted by the Buddhism. Initially, the Buddha was hesitant to accept the women in the order, but not because of that the women are not capable of realizing the truth, just as men are. He thought their admission would create problems in the Buddhist order, and in many cases his presumption proved correct. But once women proved their capability of managing their affairs in the order, the Buddha gave them responsible positions in the Bhikkhuni Sangha and recognized their abilities and talents. The Buddhist text records are available of eminent saintly Bhikkhunis, for example, Dhammadinna, Khema, Uppalvanna and many more, who were very learned and who were experts in preaching the Dhamma. Numerous stanzas by senior nuns regarding their ability to enter the order and realize the truth clearly express the feeling of joy experienced by them. In the Buddhist tradition, the relationship between gender and authority is a thing to be contested by many because of the diversity of Buddhist communities. It is believed in some Buddhist traditions that woman is unable to reach enlightenment due to the limitation of her gender. Thus, the female leadership is impossible due to this phenomena. These traditions state that enlightenment is only possible for women if they gain good karma and are reborn as men beforehand. They believed that as women edge closer to enlightenment, they will spontaneously transfer into a male form as a prerequisite for attaining final awakening. Many other historical references are similar to above mentioned views regarding to women. In present days, several major monastic lineages in Southeast Asia and Sri Lanka, along with Tibetan cultural areas, deny female enunciates full ordination due to the fact that the lineage of nuns was broken long ago, and without the Buddha, no one else can restart the tradition. The lack of any agency for women in the Buddhist tradition seems to be the only reason for this Buddhist practice, thus proves to be discouraging and gender biased. Though alternative traditions also exist that argue women can also reach awakening. The historical Jatak and other stories of the Buddha's life and past traditions should be studied carefully and with awareness of the broader social historical context. Funding the building of monastic institutions, the composition and publication of Buddhist texts, and the performance of rituals for the upkeep of the cosmos were some of the activities historically performed by the laywomen as the crucial patterns of the Buddhist order. They also acted as authors of some texts and hold their own ritual responsibilities. But all societies witness the discrimination against women as a common feature. The prejudice and obstacles that women have had to encounter and surmount seem to be almost identical whether in Africa, America, Asia or Europe. Religious biased peculiar stigma attached to women all over the world as they are depicted as a temptress and are warned against it in almost all religions of the world. Therefore, in other words, it can be said that the woman's basic stigma originates in religion. Though the Buddha elevated the status of women, he was also practical in his observations and accordingly advised time to time as he realized the social and psycho-sociological differences which existed between men and women. Example in this regard is scattered all over the Buddhist canon, but they were depicted mainly in the Anguttara Nikaya and Samyukta Nikaya. According to the Buddha, a man's duty is his unending quest for knowledge, the improvement and stabilization of his skill and craftsmanship, and dedication to his work and ability to find the wherewithal for the maintenance and sustenance of his family. On the other hand, it is also stated that it was the woman's duty to look after the home and to look after her husband. Some valuable advice to young girls prior to their marriage, which the Buddha gave them, are contained in the Anguttara Nikaya. Regarding the difficulties which they were bound to face, the Buddha enjoined them to serve their new in-laws lovingly as they would to their own parents and give every respect to them. They were also requested to create a congenial and happy atmosphere in their new homes and honor and respect their husbands, relatives and friends. To understand their husband's nature, ascertain his activities, character and temperament, and to be useful and cooperation of all times in their new homes is also advised. They were also expected to be polite, kind and watchful in their relationship with the household servants and safeguard their husband's earnings and see to it that all household expenditures were properly regulated. Such advice given by the Buddha even more than 25 centuries ago is still valuable today. There are some natural and traditional phenomena which depict the differential situations and circumstances prevailing between men and women. The difficulties and problems she had to face in trying to adjust herself in a new environment after her marriage, the suffering and agony to be borne by a woman in leaving her family, and the handicaps and drawbacks under which women had to undergo in life were also clearly indicated. Along with the above mentioned problems, women were also subjected to physiological pain and suffering during their menstrual periods, pregnancy and childbirth. Some early Buddhist texts like the Chullavagga of the Vinaya Pitaka of the Pali Canon mentions that a woman can attain enlightenment. Sanyukta Nikaya provides some caustic comments which were made on the wiles and behavior of women by the Buddha, bring forth many redeeming features such as under certain circumstances women are considered more discerning and wise than men, and women are also considered capable of attaining perfection or sainthood after treading the noble eightfold path. But on the other hand, in the Bodh Tuk Sutta, it is also clearly stated that there could never be a female Buddha. According to the Theravada Buddhism, based on the Buddhist philosophy of the earliest dated texts, Buddhahood is a rare event. Primarily, the focus of practice to be done by monks and nuns is to attain the arhatship. The Pali Canon has examples of both male and female arhats who attain nirvana. The former wife of Buddha, Shakyamuni, and the mother of his son Rahula, Yashodhara, is said to have become an arhat after having joined the Bhikkhuni order of Buddhist nuns. As per the Mahayana schools, Buddhahood is the universal goal for Mahayana practitioners. The Mahayana Sutra maintain that a woman can become enlightened but not only in female form. For example, the Bodhisattva Bhumi, dated to the 4th century, states that a woman about to attain enlightenment will be reborn in the male form. In the Gautami chapter of the volume 28 of Madhyama Agam, the Buddha stated that women can't be Buddha. Chakravartin, Shakra, Brahma and Mar for the innate deficits. In volume 9, chapter Bodhisattva of Nirvana Sutra, Buddha stated that women can't be satisfied with their lust, even unlimited men have sex with a woman can't make her content. In volume 97 of Maharatna Kuta Sutta, Buddha told King Udayana, Your Highness, you should know that when a great man approaches a woman, he is approaching the way to the 3 lower realms, which is the biggest fault a great man can produce. But no mention of any female arhat in first, second and third council except Sanghamitra is to open our eyes, and no important none after that is highlighted anywhere in Buddhist literature. It is impossible for a woman to be a bodhisattva, which is someone on their way to Buddhahood. Bodhisattva can be a human, animal, serpent or a god, but is never a woman. The Theravada does not deny women to become awakened, but they are unable to lead a Buddhist community. If the aspiration to Buddhahood has been made and a Buddha of the time confirms it, it is impossible to be reborn as a woman. An appropriate aim is for women to aspire to be reborn as male. They can become a male by moral actions and sincere aspirations to maleness. They believe being born a female is a result of bad karma. However, in the tantric iconography of the Vajrayana practice, path of Buddhism, female Buddhas do appear. Sometimes they are the concerts of the main yidam of a meditation mandala, but Buddhas such as Vajra Yogini, Tara and Singha Mukha appear as the central figures of tantric sadhana in their own right. Vajrayana Buddhism also recognizes many female yogini practitioners as achieving the full enlightenment of a Buddha. Miranda Shah, as an example, cites sources referring to among the students of the adept Naropa, reportedly 200 men and 1,000 women attained complete enlightenment. Yeshej Sogyal, one of the 5 tantric concerts of Padma Sambhav, is an example of a woman. Recognized as a female Buddha in the Vajrayana tradition. According to Karmapa lineage, however, Sogyal has attained Buddhahood in that very life. On the website of the Karmapa, the head of the Karma Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism, it is stated that Yeshe Sogyal, some 30 years before transcending worldly existence, finally emerged from an isolated meditation retreat. There are predictions from Sakyamuni Buddha to be found in the 13th chapter of the Mahayana Lotus Sutra, referring to future attainments of Mahaprajapati and Yashodhara. Then Finally, the above-mentioned description provides an introspection of the place of women in Buddha, that how initially the Buddha broke all the contemporary taboos related to women and provided them a respectful place in Sangha. Though later on women lost that higher place, and even controversy regarding their achievement of arhatship and Buddhatva became major issue, and even in some countries the tradition of nuns came in trouble and discontinued. I hope the efforts of present day nuns activities will be successful, and once again Buddhism will have a large number of nuns in India also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.